He did was totally valid self-defense, and he, like, ideally, he would have shot and killed more of those fucking pieces of shit. Thanks for the donation. Leave animals alone, bastards.
Frank, give us an eye update. Frank, give us an eye update. Frank, give us an eye update. My eyes are fucking crooked. What am I supposed to say? You guys are ridiculous. So let me actually put my phone down somewhere because there's gonna be a little bit of an explanation. But long story short, it's almost 2 in the morning. We have a 5:45 a.m. check-in at New York Eye and Ear for a surgery to correct my cross eyes. Going back a little bit, about a month and a half after the surgery, I was kind of like sketched out. I mean, you guys noticed I was kind of cross-eyed. I was worried it wasn't going to fix itself, although I was optimistic. I started scheduling appointments to see other doctors, and New York Eye and Ear is kind of like the most famous, well-known for the best doctors in New York, especially, maybe even in the whole U.S. I'm not too sure about that, but that's where my health insurance is, and that's close to me, and that makes the most sense out of everything. So went to see a few different optometrists, and they basically told me I had strabismus, which is misalignment of the eyes, which is caused by like a muscle imbalance, because there's 4 muscles basically. Well, I'm not sure on that, but I think there's like 4 muscle areas that attach the eye, top, bottom, left, and right.
Frankie Eyeballs is getting corrective surgery.
Yep. It'll be hilarious if that goes wrong too, and then he gets even more complications. Thanks for the donation, Sam.
And if one is tighter than the other or one is looser than the other, it can cause the eyes to be crossed in certain directions. I hope the lighting's okay, but I don't really care. So it could be up, down, left, right. And for me, it's weird because after that surgery, both of my eyes are pointing inward. So whatever the plastic surgeon did caused both of my eyes to point inward. And after I went to the New York doctors and they confirmed I had strabismus.
Candace Owens got fired. Yeah, I heard. She's such a dumb bitch.
I asked those New York doctors, hey, how often have you seen this after orbital decompression? They said it was very rare. So then, after speaking to them, I had my follow-up consultation with the plastic surgeon. So just to get the timeline correct, a month and a half, I'm like, okay, maybe something's wrong here. So, and then at the 2-month point, I was seeing the New York doctors. And then I had my follow-up with the plastic surgeon at 3 months. So I didn't like schedule anything or want to get any surgeries, because at that 2-month point, the New York doctor basically told me I had to get surgery to fix it, because it was severe enough that it was not going to correct itself. But I said, okay, hold on, let's wait, let's see what the plastic surgeon says, hopefully something optimistic. And he basically told me that he never saw this happen before in both eyes. He did say that he has had patients that have had issues in one eye. He has had patients that had to get strabismus surgery in one eye, but not like this. And from when I looked up...
Dude, that's so funny. The doctor just fucked his shit up.
If people get orbital decompression, there's
oh my God.
a 15% chance of a misalignment. He was giving me statistics...
Dude, that is huge.
At least these new doctors seem competent.
Yeah, like, at least it's not some, like, jank fucking plastic surgery. Thanks for the donation, Sam. Dude, that is a huge fucking risk. 15%, like, what is that, like 1 in 6 or something?
Saying there's a 3% chance. Now, he never told me I would be cross-eyed. He told me I had a chance of double vision. He did not mention that I would also be cross-eyed, which, might have deterred me from getting the surgery. But I'm assuming what he was saying was in 3% of his procedures, that was his personal, I guess you would say, success or failure rate with patients having issues with...
Okay, that is insanely stupid. Why wouldn't you go by a general average? If this guy's going to say, oh, it only happens in 3% of cases when I do it, oh, okay, well, he's super fucking biased. Obviously, he has a financial incentive not to tell you the truth. And, like, 3%, I wouldn't want to take a 3% risk of being fucking cross-eyed.
Eye misalignment, which compared to medical literature that I've read, the medical literature was much higher. But the thing is, if he's telling me 3% of his cases had misalignment in one eye, what's 3% of 3%? I did the math once. It's I don't remember exactly, but it's something crazy. It's like 0.1%.
What does he mean 3% of 3%? He literally just said 3% of cases have misalignment. It's 3%. What does he mean 3% of 3%?
Chance that both of my eyes would have been misaligned, which I mean, I kind of believe him if he's telling me it's never happened before, because statistically speaking, I mean, even a 15% chance of 15% or 10% of 10%, it's very, very low. But
What an
you know,
idiot.
to get the short end of the stick, is very, it seems to be very, very unlucky. So it wasn't helpful, because he basically said he never saw it before, and now I got to go to these other surgeons to try to correct the issue. So I'm not too happy about it. I was telling myself, this plastic surgery I got in California a few months ago was going to be the last plastic surgery I would ever get in my life, and here I am waking up at 2 a.m. to get a taxi to New York to go get this surgery. So I'm not happy about this. Hopefully, it's just this one surgery, and then it's fixed, and then I never have to go under anesthesia again in my life. But yeah, that's the eye update, I guess. So we're going to get him fixed. He's supposed to do. He said doing fixing one eye has a 90% chance of fixing both of them. So hopefully that's the truth. Hopefully it's not some weird thing where the.
Why the fuck did he get this surgery in the first place?
It was cosmetic surgery. He basically thought it would make him look prettier. That's literally the only reason. Thanks for that, Nation San.
misalignment was caused surgically, and both of them have to be corrected surgically. I hope that's not the case. I have a feeling it might be, because...
Why did Frank get the eye surgery in the first place? They looked fine to me. How much did the first plastic surgery cost?
So it was cosmetic surgery. He did it just to look prettier, and it cost him, I think, over $30,000. I think he said it was like $33,000, something like that, and he had to take out a loan to be able to afford it. It was really retarded. Thanks for the donation, Sam.
I mean, after that procedure, both of them were misaligned, and I have a bad memory, but I think it's called esotropia, where the eyes point inward, and exotropia is when the eyes point outward. Some of you guys are suggesting, oh, you could fix it with exercises. People have fixed lazy eyes with exercises. Esotropia, where the eyes point inward, it's the one where it can't really get fixed with eye exercises. The others have seen some success, but especially both eyes. If one eye was off, then you could cover it, the other eye, and strengthen the eye. But the problem is, if both eyes are pointing inward, the only way to really strengthen them is to cover one and get it to focus. But if you cover one, one eye gets better and the other stays bad, and it never gets fixed. Surgery is basically the only option, or hoping it gets better on its own. I have not seen any evidence whatsoever that esotropia can be fixed on its own. And more importantly, everything past about 3 feet in front of me, I see 2 of. It's not easy. My vision is very messed up. It's very difficult to drive. It's it's confusing. It's hard to do, even just my day-to-day tasks. And I definitely don't like I don't make eye contact with people anymore, because I know my eyes are fucked. I don't like making eye contact with people anymore. So hopefully we get it fixed today. I'm not too upset about it, because it's not a crazy procedure. It has a very high success rate. It can be done again. It's nothing insane. It's not a crazy insane thing to get done. So that's enough yapping. It's a few hour drive to New York, then probably a few hours in the hospital, and then a few hour drive back home. Hopefully, nice, quick, and easy, in and out. And hopefully, the one thing I'm worried about, if this is it, I'll be happy. If I got to get the other eye done too, I don't know. I'll be a little upset if I.
So he did it for pure vanity. Almost 50 years ago, I had cosmetic surgery to straighten my right eye.
Well, I'm sure there were much better reasons for you to get the surgery than Frank had. Thanks for the donation, Sam.
I gotta do another, because surgery is a big deal. Okay? You gotta see the doctor. You gotta get pre-surgical screening. It's a big deal. It's not easy. But anyway, I gotta get ready to go. So maybe we'll update you guys in the hospital. All right, guys. The drive-in was.
Oh my god!
I'll save that story for later. But we're chilling in the hospital bed.
Dude, he's wearing that at the fucking hospital like a retard.
It's like 6:45. So.
What an idiot!
Surgery's supposed to be 7:30. I don't have clothing on, but I got the head net on for now, so I'm feeling okay. Oh, thank fucking Christ. That was a fucking nightmare. And not the surgery, guys. The taxi, holy fuck. Worse, I've never thought I was going to die so certainly in my life. But we'll save that story after the eye update. So I just got home from the surgery. Let me get inside so you guys can see a little better. It's about 2 p.m. Should have been home at 1 p.m., but well, and that explanation is part of the taxi story. My eyes are like really dry, a little irritated. I'm blinking a lot. I'm definitely going to go try to lay down after I eat something. Just hopefully the irritation goes away. So
It looks like they fixed the one eye, his right eye, and the left eye is fucked.
I think you guys can kind of tell. Operating on my right eye.
Yeah.
My right eye is straight, I think. A little swollen, but right eye is straight. And left eye is not the one they operated on. Oh, this looks kind of funky, man. Is it just swollen? Yeah, I think it's just swollen.
Dude.
It's a little swollen. But,
Oh, what an idiot.
so what's going to happen is, I'm just going over here, look in the mirror real quick. What's going to happen is, now that the right eye is straight.
Oh my god. Dodo donate $2. How come you don't see terrorists using Teslas? Also, when is Alan Wake 2 DLC coming out?
Have you ever wondered how canals work?
Well, you probably don't see terrorists using Teslas because they're unreliable as shit. They're electric, so being able to travel far distances is a big liability. If they get shot at, they're likely to blow up compared to a gasoline car.
For that kind of surgery, seems like he should have been driven home.
He did. He took 2 taxis, so he didn't drive. Thanks for the donation, Sam. And they're extremely expensive, too, so I'm assuming that's why terrorists don't use Teslas.
There are two main canals that revolutionized global trade by offering shorter routes for ships. The Suez Canal in Egypt is pretty straightforward, as both of its ends are at the sea level, allowing ships to pass between Mediterranean and Red Sea. However, the Panama Canal is a whole different story. It's not just a large dugout passage. Instead, ships have to navigate through a series of watertight locks. These locks work like elevators, lifting ships 26 meters to reach higher levels before lowering them back down, making up for the height difference between the two sides. Have you ever
That's fascinating. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. And I don't know when Alan Wake 2's DLCs are coming out. I think they're supposed to come out this year.
And more importantly, I can see straight. I don't have double vision anymore. The left eye should correct itself over the next 3 weeks, and both of my eyes should be straight. So this is definitely not an indicator of what it's going to look like. We'll wait 2 or 3 weeks. I trust this doctor more than the previous one, and it should be good. So we got to the city too early at 4:45 because I accidentally told the taxi driver.
Dodo donate $2. You should do a skit of ISIS doing a review on the new Tesla Cybertruck. Also, watch this whole thing. I can't believe how gross this is and how they legally sell this in the US.
This amber goop comes from bugs, and you've probably eaten it before. It's a natural resin called shellac, and once it's stretched and cooled, it's used in tons of ways, from adding a shine to popular candies like jelly beans and preserving citrus fruit to finishing wood. Its history dates back 3,000 years in India, where it was originally used to make jewelry and adorn palaces. India is the world's largest shellac producer, exporting over $65 million worth of it a year. But fluctuating harvests and prices have put this ancient industry at risk.
शेलक के काम में शुरू से लेके लास्ट तक चैलेंजेस है रह सकते हो नहीं तो इसमें इस बिजनेस को करना काफी टफ
Is teeny, barely big enough to see with the naked eye. In June, farmers implant
Oh,
broodlac,
weird.
or the mamas, onto new tree branches. Their babies will hatch and spread out. As they suck the tree sap, the females secrete an amber-colored resin. When it hits the air, it hardens, creating a protective nest. This is what becomes valuable shellac.
Maybe he should try to sue the California doctor.
He probably wouldn't be able to because he was warned about the risks. There's a risk to any medical procedure, so unless the doctor did something that was way outside the bounds of, what would be considered reasonable practice, he wouldn't be able to sue. It's also just hard to sue doctors, period. But thanks for the donation, Sam.
This curved knife, called a dowli,
So it's not technically made out of bugs, it's made out of the amber they produce.
is the most important tool for farmers like to as 300,000 insects to make just 1 kilo of shellac. That's where the lac insect derives. That's where Manoj Sodaogi.
That is really weird. I didn't know that. I've heard of shellac, but I didn't know it was made from insects making this weird resin shit.
Convinced Tefano has a secret sugar daddy pay pig that made him get the surgery cause he thinks it would be hotter to blow loads on his face if he had retard lazy eyes. Totally isn't me, by the way, just a hunch.
Wouldn't surprise me. He said he had to take out a bank loan, though, so... But it wouldn't surprise me. Thanks for the donation, jackass.
An hour too early. And so I hung out in the car for an hour.
This is making me sick. Have you seen a Rivian truck?
I have seen the Rivian trucks. If I had to get either a Tesla Cybertruck or a Rivian, I'd rather get a Rivian. They're both bad, though. The Rivian is not a good truck. The bed is very small, and because of the design of the truck, there's no gap between the truck bed and the body of the car. If you get any kind of damage...
I couldn't tell if Frankie is looking into the camera directly.
Yeah, he'd be a good security guard because you'll never know where he's looking. Thanks for the donation, Grey Knight. Because there's no gap between the bed and the actual body of the car, if you get rear-ended or there's any damage to the truck, it costs so much fucking money to fix. I remember hearing a guy having to pay almost the full cost of the car just to get the car repaired after he got into a small accident. It was crazy. It was like $40,000 to get the truck repaired after a little fender bender. I'd never get a truck like this. And again, it has a tiny bed. What are you gonna do with it? And electric cars are fucking horrible for towing. So you can't fit anything into the bed because the bed is so small. It's terrible for towing. All electric vehicles are terrible for towing. So, if you're gonna get an electric vehicle, why get something like this? It makes no sense.
The Rivian also has a weird headlight arrangement.
I don't mind the headlights. I think it looks cool, but the car just makes no sense. It's literally made for somebody who just wants to brag that they have an electric truck, but then they won't even use it for truck purposes. So, yeah, it's a stupid car. Thanks for the donation, Sam. Dutchy donated $2. Eddie Abu talks about the new claim on intermittent fasting linked to heart disease and counting calories as a scam. Well, it's not. Intermittent fasting linked to heart disease.
Data from between 2003 and 2018. Listen, who the fuck was talking about intermittent fasting then? How can something as good as intermittent fasting lowers your blood pressure, reverses type 2 diabetes? You have so many things. How can it be bad?
It does not reverse type 2 diabetes.
Bad for you. Guys, they're scared because you're going to stop buying their sugary shit. That's why this propaganda is out. Guys, wake the fuck
How does that study... This guy is just a retard.
up. They're lying to you.
How does this study promote the consumption of sugar?
They want you to keep buying their sugary shit. Don't do it. Guys.
Okay, nothing he said made any sense. They looked at 8-hour fasting windows, so they might have collected data from people who may not be intentionally doing intermittent fasting. They were just collecting nutritional surveys, and they looked at 8-hour eating windows. So they may have just had a big prospective cohort where they were collecting nutrition surveys, and they just found certain people were eating within a certain window. Oh, I don't eat breakfast. I eat lunch around here, and then I have my dinner around 6 or 7, and that's all I eat. These people may not have intentionally been doing intermittent fasting, and that's how they collected the data.
These are all lies.
But that guy is a massive, massive moron. Let's see.
Counting calories is the biggest and most profitable scam in the whole fucking world. This food manufacturer.
This guy was a competitive bodybuilder, by the way. And he took steroids. He was really serious about it. You're telling me this guy never deliberately reduced his calories to get in shape for a bodybuilding competition?
They made so much money making you count calories. They put bold, 94 calories, low calories, and then you look at the back of it. Every fucking thing that shouldn't be in food, but they make you look at it.
Yeah, dude. The caloric content has nothing to do with the ingredient content.
They make you think that it's a bit healthy because it's low calorie. This is not food, guys. You're being fucking scammed. During the lockdown, I used to watch a lot of YouTube.
This dude is saying caloric control. I don't even understand what he's trying to argue. Is he saying caloric control doesn't affect weight loss, or is he saying you should be focusing more on the ingredients in food.
I used to watch these scammer payback, people like Pierogi who going around like calling people and taking over their computers. We were all told not to get scammed. How come we are accepting this fucking scam, but we're eating it? And that's what is actually making us fat and making us ill. Every fucking thing in here, it says low calorie. Your body treats as sugar because it's very highly glycemic food. Don't fucking count calories. Count fucking ingredients. The biggest fucking scamming gadget. My shitness pal. See people walking around that fucking thing on their around. I'm doing my steps in. And they're going to a fucking burger. Guys, you're fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Whenever my clients come in with them, just take that fucking thing off your arm. You become obsessive. If you put a particular food in a health app, it should flag it and say, dude, this is full of chemicals. It shouldn't tell you about the calories. It should tell you that this is shit. I'm going to come out with one of those fucking things that says, this is fucking shit. Don't eat it whenever you put that. It's bullshit. Come on, guys. Wake the fuck up, guys.
His accent triggers me. He has one of the most annoying, obnoxious British accents. And he's just an annoying, obnoxious person. Thanks for the donation, Dutchie. Dylan donated $2. Got a new one for you. I don't know why it's so fun making these. Show this one for your viewers first, though, since yesterday you only had 80 viewers then when I sent it to you. Right, let me see. It's like the wolves in Yellowstone would be a good example of that.
Actually, that's a really horrible example because they reintroduced wolves to Yellowstone because of the way that it was destroyed. Because of the way that.
Yeah, so you didn't read the follow-up paper, did you? The authors of the original paper retracted their original paper and said they were wrong about everything. Wolves were not impacting the environment at all. Actually, poaching was, and natural changes in climate and weather. So you didn't read the follow-up paper, did you? Based in Sigma. Yeah. Based in Sigma. Thanks for that donation, Dylan.
Did Frank always look like a pouty little bitch, or is this a result of the surgery? He always looks like he's about to cry.
I think it's both. He kind of looked like that, but the surgery enhanced his pouty bitch face. Thanks for the donation, Sanderbling.
We got in the hospital 5:45 a.m. at our check-in time. It took about 15 minutes to get me upstairs. Answer some questions for the nurse. Was basically suited up in the hospital gown by 6:30, and then hung around for about an hour. A few doctors and nurses talked to me between, but it was mostly me sitting in the bed for about an hour, and then
Dylan Donny Teller, soon you're gonna have as many Sigma edits as Putin and Modi. Yeah, hopefully. Thanks for the donation, Dylan.
doctor came, talked to me, and then wheeled me into the surgery room, and I was basically out. I was out like a light within maybe 5 minutes, and then woke up about 9:30, came to. My godforsaken taxi driver was there to pick me up, and then we came back.
VG, if a vegan person gives their pet cat or dog vegan food, is the pet plant-based, not vegan because they didn't choose their food while the human owner retains a vegan status?
Yeah, so the pet would technically be plant-based. I think it's possible for some animals to be vegan, really. Like, our dog Finn, he would never harm another creature. Even like little insects, he just looks at them. I've seen him look at small animals and he's just curious about them. He'd honestly never want to hurt anything. So I'd say Finn is vegan. So it's possible for some animals to, have that sort of, moral outlook where they don't want to hurt anything else. But, yeah, like most carnivorous animals, like cats, they're, plant-based. Thanks for the donation, Maroon Blue. Gig donated $2. You owe Aaron P. $10,000. Skim.
Here come the tears.
Keep doing
Here
it.
come the tears from baby.
I stopped myself from crying. I stopped.
Oh, but that's perfect, isn't it? That's even better.
It's garbage, though.
No, that's even better performance. You look like you're going to cry, and then you hold back because you're so afraid of daddy doing something to you. Right?
No, that's literally not why.
What the fuck? What is this?
All bullshit all the time.
Who is this guy? Chat calling the police.
Don't contact the police. Are you guys retarded?
I did not kick you. I would say I shoved you with my feet. It wasn't a kick.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Okay, you think
It's a
this is a
push.
joke. I mean, it may...
Dude, this guy's a gaslighting abuser,
You
clearly.
know how people on the internet are, Grace?
Yeah, no.
Also, it was not domestic violence, which is important because they automatically prosecute. You were not in the apartment. I don't live with you.
Yeah.
Sex. Well,
Clean the
Yeah.
You got a rope. Look at you. You're already. Their life's already over. This. I don't tolerate those people, Grace. Like this fucking clown guy and these type of people. Or people said they saw it and whatnot, or it's on the stream and they sent it to the cop. See?
Joke for the stream. Can I even see him?
Well, good riddance. That guy definitely deserves to be arrested. Check this out. Let me see. That is not an exercise. Okay, I don't know what the hell that is, but thanks, Gig. Mike Donate Tellers, would you say Cenk Uygur is a perfect example of a person that thinks completely with his emotions rather than brain? Also, you hear about Candace getting booted from Daily Wire. Yeah, Cenk has no ability to think critically, especially when something's emotionally triggering to him, like, you know, Israel-Palestine. He had that debate with Rabbi Shmuley recently, and he got absolutely fucking destroyed. I don't know why he keeps agreeing to do these Israel-Palestine debates when he just completely and utterly fails miserably each time. And yeah, I saw Candace got booted. Not surprising. Thanks for the donation, Mike.
Back. So surgery went well. He operated, as I said, just on the right eye. I can fucking see now. I can see, yeah. So before, for the past 4 months, everything I saw.
Is this vegan?
Let me see. Justin, California man arrested for allegedly eating a severed leg that he took from a pedestrian who was struck by a train. The incident happened in Wasco, California. According to police, 27-year-old Rosendo Telez removed a leg from an Amtrak station. Telez was seen eating the leg, according to a witness, and was later booked into jail for removing or mutilating human remains. The man who was struck by the train sadly died. Yeah, I'd say this is vegan. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Why? Oh my god. He's eating a raw human leg. Dude. Oh my god. What is this? Holy shit. Who does that? He literally just sees a human leg and starts eating it? Thanks for the donation, Renee.
So it was double. Now, still slight focusing issues, which is fine. It's going to fix itself. But now I can see normally, which is, which is good. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the next few weeks is going to go. I'm not going to wait until like the appointment next week, or I'm not going to wait. I'm really congested, probably because I was in the hospital. I need to do an iodine rinse, but yeah, I'm just going to post this, just so you guys know. You guys have been asking me. And then we'll do another update.
Why do you want to make veganism a religion? Religions have a belief in supernatural, rituals and afterlife. Veganism requires none of this. If it's to bring us together on viewpoints, remember there are over 40,000 subsects of Christianity alone.
Well, a religion doesn't technically have to have a belief in a deity, so, it's you can call it a religion. Like, one of the benefits of calling it a religion would be that you can get tax exemption status. So, but you don't necessarily need belief in a deity. So, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking of ways to implement the idea. I think it could work. Thanks for the donation, Monkey Ball Assassin.
This is for more lols.
All right, let me see. What happened here? Dude. That kid is so stupid. Just ran right into the pole. That was so loud. Fucking kid. Thanks for that donation, Renee.
In a month. So we have the initial update. Everything went well. We're just waiting for the left eye to correct itself now. And so then we'll do that update like 3 or 4 weeks from now. Kind of final surgery update. Hopefully it's good.
So you donated $2. President Biden said at a fundraiser last night, this defeated looking man come up to me and said, Mr. President, I need your help. I'm in crushing debt. I'm completely wiped out. I had to say, Donald, I can't help you. That's pretty dope. That's a sick burn. Thanks for that donation, Dodo.
Good. I mean, I think it's gonna. He said there's a 90% chance I won't have to get the other eye done, which I'm hoping for. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. I wouldn't mind if I really had to absolutely get another procedure.
Ready for some cancer? Start the video at 53:34. This entire video is a goldmine of strange anti-vegan statements like this.
Let's see, 53:34.
Is your business. But I think the idea that the primary way that we talk about animal agriculture related issues is to tell people to go vegan is frankly eugenics. Like, change my mind, you know.
Do they know what eugenics is? How the fuck does veganism cause eugenics? It doesn't change, like it doesn't force certain people to breed and not breed.
My arms are literally crossed right now. I just, because there's, again, I could go off about this for hours, but there's so much evidence that, for instance, people with autism or autistic people, we tend to have gut health and digestive issues more than the general public. There could be many reasons for this. Stress would be one of them, I would guess.
So eating dead, rotting animal flesh is gonna help your gut issues?
And also the fact that a lot of autistic people have issues with restrictive eating, in the sense that a lot of us will eat the same thing every day or will only eat certain foods as a sensory thing, you know, outside of
Then just eat vegan foods you like.
like we might also have an eating disorder or something else.
So, like, we just saw the guy steal a dead person's leg and eat it. Like, is she in favor of taking human body parts and eating it just because you like the taste or something? Or you have some, like, weird autistic tendency to eat certain things? Is it okay to kill and eat people now?
So, to get into a diet that is so demanding on your digestion
Why is a vegan diet demanding on your digestion?
is already disproportionately going to target autistic people for poor health. And, you know, swaths of other people too with other conditions. But
Oh my god.
I just, yeah, I think like if you're going to take anything away from this conversation right now, and there are going to be many more conversations to be had in the future, but it would be that. It would be, you know, however you decide.
Dude, I wish I could debate these people. This is like the most idiotic cancer horseshit I've ever fucking heard in my life.
To enact your ethics in the world, like that's your business, but to go out and tell other people that this is what they should do.
That's the whole idea of ethics, you idiot. It's to tell other people what to fucking do. What? Oh, it's fine to, like, you know, have your own moral values, but you can't tell it. That's the whole point!
Is really dangerous, and especially because the issues with veganism tend to appear over the long term. So it's some people.
Yes, the issues with veganism tend to appear over the long term. Vegans live longer, we have lower risk of chronic disease. You see that over the long term.
Like, I have a good friend of mine tried to be vegan for years because me and my best friend, the three of us were really close.
Oh,
like,
here we go.
But he knew like immediately that it was not working for him. But he kept trying, you know, and he said,
Oh, I know a guy who said he tried to eat, you know, like bananas, but he couldn't eat the bananas.
for like years of being fatigued and having health issues because of
what
it.
an idiot.
But for a lot of us, we may have enough nutrients stored in our body fat that you don't notice. Like a lot of people feel great the first even like up to 5 years because they're still able to process nutrients that they've stored.
Yeah.
But you can't, I mean, it's very serious. You can get
What an
really
idiot.
long-term issues. And like, for me, it seems like I can't tolerate plants anymore, like
Mm.
at all.
What?
Really. So it's more than just like try it. And if it doesn't work for you, then like get off of it, because it's
Okay, this is just fucking cancer. Thanks for that donation. My name is Bitchard.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can look up strabismus surgery if you want to know more about that. Was I blocking my camera? Fuck, I hope not. Yeah, if you guys want to look up strabismus surgery, you guys can look more about that. They hold the eye open, they turn the eye, they make an incision, and they cut the muscle and they move the muscle back so that the eye can move. But no, my eyes are definitely very irritated.
Let me see if there's a YouTube video. Try bismuth surgery? I don't know how to spell it. Try bismuth surgery? Oh, there we go.
Nature, you scary.
Let me see, Renee. Rock slide can be fatal even though it doesn't seem so. This one struck in India State near a village. Slide comprised of large boulders that impact an iron bridge, which completely collapsed. Whoa. Those are big-ass boulders. Holy shit. Imagine if that hit you, you'd be just fucking obliterated. Wow. Never seen a rock slide before. Thanks for the donation, Renee.
Just dry that for me. So I've got tooth forceps now, but I'm holding on the anterior edge, so I'm not at risk of tearing remove it easily if we need to. In so the knots on the inside.
So that's basically what Frank Defano got.
And dry right now. God forbid they give me some fucking Oxycontin so I can sleep, right? I'll make a whole fucking separate video on the painkillers, dude. It's fucking ridiculous. Alright. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to touch on the eye surgery. But, hopefully that's the last surgery I have to get in my life. Okay, so let's talk about this fucking taxi horror story, dude. This is fucking insane. What topped it off, dude, was the worst chargeback ever, dude. 900. As soon as I got out of the fucking surgery room into the taxi, saw my emails, fucking $900 chargeback. Fucking bank sided with the customer, dude. I'm about to, some fucking cocksucker in like Morningside Heights. His name is Justin. I swear to fucking God, I will get my $900 back. I swear to fucking God, I can't. That was the icing. That made it fucking worse. I was like, that happening was like, all right, I'm definitely telling this taxi story. I'm definitely fucking telling it. So let's sit down for this one. This was fucking horrendous.
Dude, what the hell?
So I called this taxi guy up last week. He says he could do it for $750. Take me to New York, wait for me for my surgery, sign me out of the hospital, and take me back. Now $750.
Is Frank taking eye drops?
Yes, he is. He said he's been taking eye drops. Thanks for the donation, Sam.
The Uber each way would probably be $250, and then I was like, $250 for him sitting there and signing me out. I'd probably spend more on the nurse service. So I thought it was a good deal. But I did have a friend over here. I might have been able to. I don't know if my friend was available, but I might have been able to ask my friend to drive me. I'm sure he would have done it for $500 or $600. So I could have saved a few $100s on using my friend. A few $100, not that big of a deal to me, guys. As you know, I'm losing thousands of dollars a week in fucking chargeback. So whether I save $300 on a cab ride or not is pretty insignificant, dude. It's pretty insignificant. So Cab driver shows up to my place, 2 in the morning, and it's an old guy, not older guy. The guy's fucking 80 or 85. I don't know. If I had to place a bet, probably 80, but completely white hair, old guy, driving a fucking I don't know, a 20-year-old Ford car, like.
Natty Granny.
Let me see. 62. Oh, is she that lady who was overweight and out of shape and then she started training? Is that the same one? She is pretty fucking insanely jacked. Like, it might just be good genetics, but she is ridiculously jacked, especially for her age. So I don't know. I don't know if she's totally natty, but that's crazy at 62. Thanks for the donation, Renee.
Not a small sedan, not a safe car to be driving, really. And it's pitch black. It's 2.
That is a lot of chargebacks. How does Frank stay in business?
If I had to guess, he's probably exaggerating. Who knows, though? Hopefully he does get a ton of chargebacks and then he goes out of business. Thanks for the donation, Sam.
2 a.m. So this guy's driving about half a mile down the road from my. Keep in mind, this is a 2-hour, 45-minute drive. Half a mile down the road from my house. I thought we were almost getting an accident. Guy swerves, hits some branches on the road. I was like, is this what I'm in for, dude? We keep driving, get on the highway, almost get killed again. There was a construction area, and the guy didn't see that the construction area was still going, and he smashed his tires on these big rubber bumpers on the road. I thought he hit something bad.
Oh my God.
He misaligned his tires. Was gonna have to stop the car. Then about 20 minutes after that, guy was about to try to. This guy kept speeding up to pass all these trucks, but he's driving this rinky-dink Ford in the middle of the night, pitch black. He's going fucking 80, 90 to pass these trailers. Car's shaking like crazy. Car needed a wheel alignment and 2 new struts, 100%. Car's shaking like fucking crazy. This guy's nuts, speeding up to 80, 90 to pass these trailers. I explained to him, look, we're not in a rush. We're going to be way too early. Take your time. I said it like 3 times. So then there's a merge sign, not a merge sign. It might be called a merge sign. It's where the 2 lanes combine. And he's about to try to pass this trailer when the 2 lanes are combined. I said, whoa, stop. And I had to tell the guy to stop because I thought I was going to get killed. I thought he was about to drive into the guardrail. So those were 3 near-death incidents within the first 30 minutes of driving. And I was like, holy fuck, I bet you. I was like, guys, I'm not done with the story yet, but God wants me here to help people. That's all I have to fucking say.
Oh my God.
If I lived through this fucking taxi driver, nothing's going to fucking kill me at this point, bro. Nothing. Holy fuck. So anyway, after that incident, then again, it's fucking pitch black, 2 a.m., old guy, he's flashing his brights on and off. Guy's going fucking 70, 80, which I'd probably be driving that fast in my car, but this car is older. It's fucking shaking like crazy. This guy's fucking old. He doesn't have a GPS mount. He's looking down at his phone. Guys, by the way, this is a professional taxi company, and this is their company vehicle. So, bro, I need some water. Hold on.
This is hilarious.
Ran out of Mountain Valley. I got this Romanian water. I actually it's weird. I had a dream about a mini vampire after I drank this. No lie. But I'll save that story for another video. So, this guy's just going too fucking fast. Like I understand why this guy keeps going 70, 80. I told him a few times. I didn't want to backseat drive him, and I told him already. I told him 3 fucking times, hey, take your time. We're gonna be really early. But I was just nervous the whole fucking ride there, dude. And then what was the funny? I was fucking laughing. I was fucking dying, dude. We stopped at a rest stop in Jersey, but it's like the beginning of Jersey, so we're like maybe halfway to New York, not even. We pull into a rest stop. I get out of the back of the car. I just start peeing in the parking lot because that's what I do. Sometimes I have some bladder issues. I just open my car door. I pee out the car. I get back in the car. He was walking over into the rest stop. I'm guessing to use the bathroom or something, but he saw it was closed. So then I see this guy walking over, and it's like a little pit. It's like he was walking towards the building, and to the right of the building in the front was like a little circular pit where like maybe you see at a park that has like concrete stairs and stuff you can go in and sit down in. Guy fucking, I could believe if what I was seeing was real. Guy fucking flew into the pit.
Dodo Donators, this was after the 2016 election. It was so cringe but amazing to watch. It was virtual because COVID in 2020, so the presidents were in the same room together, but this year, hopefully, it'll happen Biden and Trump. Let me see.
An appropriate moment. And even tonight, with all of the heated back and forth between my opponent and me at the debate last night, we have proven that we can actually be civil to each other. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said,
This idiot was on the carnivore diet until he got sick. He got in trouble with the FDA for selling bad food, and now he paid thousands to make himself cockeyed. And yet, there are people stupid enough to buy his products. This world is truly a joke.
Oh yeah, dude. Most people are complete, absolute fucking retards, and it's just amazing society functions as well as it does, considering how stupid everybody is. Thanks for that donation, Vegan Ninja.
said, pardon me. And I very politely replied, let me talk to you about that after I get into office.
That's pretty good.
Might be too hardcore for YouTube, my guy. We need some mural vlogs. Miss seeing VG in the wild.
Let me see. Never ever approach a helicopter from the front or the rear.
Jake Gyllenhaal, natural or natty? I think natty.
Real.
Yeah, look at your stomach.
Never been done before. It's real. Don't mess around. And don't do this at home.
I spoke with a stunt after a fall, a potential punch, or a kick.
I got a tip for you. Don't let no one get this close.
After taking all of this into consideration, I then had to sit down and build a program that would ultimately proprioception, learning movement patterns, and a lot for warming up. Your time at a high MMA training, keep it.
He might be natty. He might be. Like, here's the thing.
What is your go-to bulking food? Right now I'm just drowning black beans in tahini and hope for the best. Not sure if this is the best choice.
Probably rice and tofu. It's really easy to make, and then just drizzle on like olive oil onto some vegetables. I'll just roast like broccoli, just drizzle olive oil on it. That's what I like to do. Thanks for the donation, Melon. Yeah, black beans and tahini. That's a good choice. Thanks for the donation, dude. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal might be natty. The thing is, like, if he's on... You don't need that much steroids to get a benefit from it, and especially when you're dieting and training a fuck ton, just being on a TRT regimen can help a lot. It can help keep up your energy levels and keep your testosterone at, like, a normal range. So he might just be on, like, you know, a TRT dose. Like, you never know. But he might be natty. He's not, like, huge or anything, so... Somebody sent me a video of somebody literally getting their head cut off by a fucking helicopter blade. I've never seen anything like that. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, their head is gone. That is nuts. Whoa. Well, he did.
He fucking flew. He did like a fucking barrel roll into the pit. And I was looking, I took a double take. Because I still have double vision, right? I still have double vision before the surgery. So I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Is that the same guy that just fucking got out the car with me and was driving me? Is he fucking dead? Is he gonna get back up? 80-year-old guy. 80-year-old fucking guy. He walks, literally fucking flew. No joke. Like, at least fucking 5 or 6 feet. Like, in the air. And he fucking rolled. And I couldn't look. I just turned around and I was like, holy fuck, I'm gonna die today. I'm gonna fucking die today. Holy fuck. I didn't know what to do. I was like, am I gonna have to fucking call an Uber to find me at this fucking rest stop to take me to New York because I had the surgery time? Guy comes back to the fucking car. He was smoking a cigarette. That's why he was walking to the pit to smoke a cigarette. Guy walks back to the fucking car. He was like, "Oh, did you see that?" I was like, no, I was looking the other way because I was like, holy fuck, I thought the guy was gonna die. I'm not telling him I fucking saw it. And he was like, oh, I took a tumble. I was like, yeah, you all right? You okay? He's like, yeah, I didn't see the stairs. And I was like, bro, no fucking shit. You didn't see the fucking cliff you jumped off of? Holy fuck. This is fucking nuts. This is the craziest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna fucking die tonight. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Okay, so we get back in the car, and then I'm trying to like close my... I didn't sleep all the night before. I was fucking up myself in the routine as usual. But, so I was trying to get some sleep in the car, but I was so fucking nervous. I kept opening my eyes and looking and seeing how fast this guy was going. And it was just, dude, he was just going too fucking fast. If he could have just gone 55, he was going 55, 60 most of the time. But there were parts where he was fucking speeding up. And anytime you go over 60 in that fucking car, dude, it's fucking dangerous. It's like trying to fucking... You're driving basically a fucking year 2000 Toyota Corolla. So... Fuck, dude.
I was shocked to hear Frank say he had friends with him. Lol, didn't think he had any.
Yeah, I don't think he does. He might know people, but I don't think he's friends with anybody. He's kind of a annoying loser that nobody would want to be friends with. Thanks for the donation, though, Grey Knight.
Holy fuck. I need fucking Xanax and fucking 5-oxycodone after that fucking shit. Holy fuck. Guys, they went amazing. Surgery went amazing. This fucking taxi drive almost gave me a fucking stroke. Holy fuck. Okay, so... Yeah, then on and off, him going a little too fast. We finally get close. And as we get closer to the city... Thankfully, in Jersey, there's more fucking cars on the road, so this lunatic stopped going fucking 90 in this shitbox. So now that there's more cars on the road, he can't just fucking... Like... So thankfully, as we got closer to the city, when there were more cars, it was a little safer driving. So then, we get into Manhattan, we get into the city, we drive through the city. That wasn't that bad, because, you can only drive so fast in the city. We get there early, he goes to IHOP, I chill in the car for an hour, and then I check into the hospital. Then, when I woke up after surgery, he was waiting there. He already had me basically signed out, and we basically immediately left. Now, my eyes, right when I got out of surgery, my vision was too blurry. I could not see. Now, I can kind of see it's okay. But my vision was too blurry because of something they put on my eyes right out of surgery. So I was kind of like hobbling around. I couldn't really see how this guy was driving or where he was going. But it was now it's daytime, right? Now it's daytime. So I was thinking, I was like, you know what? If I don't fucking die on the way to the hospital, it was meant to fucking be. This guy's gonna fix my eyes. That's the way I felt about it. And I was like, all right, so if we make it to the hospital, it's gonna be daytime on the way back. So even if this guy drives like the complete unhinged lunatic that he is, bro. I don't know why I'm so congested. It must be something in the hospital air and the New York air. My nasal cavity's completely clogged. So yeah, I figured daytime is gonna be a lot safer because the guy can fucking see better. But I was still uncomfortable with how he was driving. He was still going a little fast. 70, 80 in that car is not safe. I was getting motion sickness. He was like, because when you go 70, 80 in a car like that, even if the highway's a little curved, it's like, thankfully, I made him stop like 6 times because I had to use the bathroom, so I had some fucking breaks. And again, because my vision was foggy, I couldn't really see her, and I was a little out of it. I couldn't really see her or worry about the driving too much. But about 2 hours into the trip, it's supposed to be a 2.5 hour drive, 2 hour, 15-minute drive. So about 2 hours into the trip, I checked my GPS, and it says an hour and a half. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And he missed like 2 fucking exits. I had to start giving him directions. So instead of getting home at like 12:30, we got home at 2. So I wasn't happy about that hour and a half extra. And then, top it off, my eyes were so fucking irritated from the heat in the car and the wind. I just wanted to get the fuck home. I ran out of eye drops in the car. Stopped by the fucking gas station, got a bottle of Fiji water. I was pouring Fiji water in my eyes were so irritated. I thought I got something in them.
Dude, that is so stupid. You shouldn't do that.
But I didn't. And then, and we finally got fucking home. And this guy didn't give me a fucking discount. And as much as I would expose and trash talk the company, I think they're out of fucking business anyway. I don't think they do any taxi service, so there's no fucking point in even naming them. But Holy fuck. What a fucking nightmare, dude. What a fucking nightmare. I had a hunch yesterday. I was like, the way the taxi guy talked to me on the phone, I was like, you know what, let me just ask my friend first. But then the taxi guy called me back and said he could do it. I was like, okay. And the main reason I went with the taxi is because I didn't want my guys, my employees, and my friend to worry that I was getting surgery. That was the main reason that was the main reason I went with the taxi. I was like, it's anonymous. They're not gonna worry about me or anything. So that's why I wanted to do it. But in hindsight, holy fuck, I lost 10 years off my fucking life today, dude. Holy fuck. What the fuck?
That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I drank this Romanian water, and I had a weird dream that this tiny little Romanian vampire was trying to kill me, but he was made out of ceramic. So I grabbed him and I took a hammer and I smashed his little head. It was a weird fucking dream. But I thought it was funny how I dreamed about a vampire after drinking Romanian water. Because Transylvania is in Romania, right? Dracula's castle? I don't know if my brain's working today. Anyway, that's my taxi rant. I'm pretty sure that's longer than the whole vlog is. Holy fuck, dude. What a fucking nightmare. Bro, this fucking guy, the fucking stairs. I was like, holy fuck, this can't be real. He fucking flew. I thought the guy, I was like, is he gonna get back up? Holy fuck. I literally turned around like this. Holy fuck. It was so fucking wild, dude. It was fucking insane. Holy fuck, dude. I thought I was gonna die the whole fucking car ride. I was honestly hoping, I was like, dude, please fucking crash into something. Because I don't want to give you stupid cocksuckers another fucking dime. Look, I just lost $900 chargeback, more than this whole fucking trip cost me, and I would gladly get my fucking head caved in to not give you stupid cocksuckers the fucking rest of the bounce. Holy fuck, dude. What a fucking nightmare. Holy fuck. Oh.
It's making a pretty big deal out of this.
Surgery 4 months ago. This is shit that happened. When you start having to do shit, there's too many. When you start involving other people, fucking taxi drivers, doctors, whatever, there's too many fucking variables for crazy shit to happen. And all it takes is one fucking nut job that guy shouldn't be fucking driving at that age, at least in that capacity. That car needs to be fucking fixed. That is not a safe car for a TLC company. And the guy needs to put a fucking, I could have given him the $5 fucking extra GPS mount I had in my fucking drawer to put on his fucking car so he doesn't have the phone there like a fucking goon bag. Holy, all right, guys, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. My eyes fucking hurt. I need to go, but see you guys for the next.
All right, well, we'll see if Frank's eyes remain cross-eyed or not. But that's pretty goddamn funny. Okay.
I filed the motion to vacate.
Let's see. JP versus Destiny. Let's look at this.
It wasn't a bloody vaccine. No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It's
what,
not.
Because it have a 100% success rate? You think it's a definition of vaccine? The whole point of the vaccine is to give your body a protein to train on so that your immune system works. Who cares if it's not the same? There's
They
different
used
types
the word
of...
vaccine so that they didn't have to contend with the fact that it wasn't the same technology.
There are different types of vaccines.
That's a completely different argument.
That are different technologies.
Fine.
The mRNA vaccines is a type of vaccine technology.
Vaccines. Now this is vaccines.
No, it was like this and now it's like this.
No. It was like this and now it's like this. The goddamn vaccines.
Like the ones that they did do for the vaccines and they continue to do to this day. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
You really think that you're in a position to evaluate the scientific credibility of the trials for the vaccines, do you?
If he's going to accuse Destiny of that, then you could say that about him.
No, I don't. So I have to trust.
Then what are you
I
doing?
have to do,
I don't trust that. I love the bloody data.
First of all,
how would you characterize the difference in your opinion?
Peterson isn't even a doctor, so who the fuck is he to say that to Destiny?
Between the left and the conservative political viewpoints.
On a very, very, very broad level, if there's some, I would say if there's some like good world that we're all aiming for, I think people on the left seem to think that a collection of taxes from a large population that goes into a government that's able to precisely kind of dole out where that tax money goes. You're basically able to take the problems of society. You're able to scrape off, hopefully, not super significant amount of money from people that can afford to give a lot of money. And then through government programs and redistribution, you target those taxes essentially to people that kind of need whatever bare minimum to take advantage of opportunity society. Yeah.
Okay.
And then on the conservative end, I guess a conservative would generally think that why would the government take my money? I think from a community point of view, through churches, through community action, through families, we can better allocate our own dollars to our own friends and family to help them and give them the things that they need so that they can better participate in and thrive in society, basically.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so...
Notice how he doesn't care about the old man's well-being when he falls, but just about making it in time to his vein eye surgery. Narcissism.
Oh yeah, he's a complete narcissist, and he's super selfish. And it's funny, every time he does something, he has something to complain about. I think he's just being super dramatic. Thanks for the donation, Jacked Up. What Destiny should have mentioned is that right-wingers or Republicans will do moralizing so that they don't have to actually put money towards, like, public funds so they won't get taxed. So rather than recognizing, like, hey, we should have a welfare system or, you know, free healthcare or something like that, they'll do some moralizing about how, oh, well, people should be looking after their own finances, or this is why we need, like, a church system so that people can help each other out, and we wouldn't need to do this if our society was better. They'll do this moralizing to avoid having to pay for any kind of public services.
Bro, watch this clip and tell me what the ant is doing to that bug. 523.
523. Okay, we'll look at that. Thanks for that donation, Jermaine Dupree.
Time to face your fears, big guy.
Ah. Stupid ass kids. Kids are dumb. Get wrecked. Yeah, dog versus child, dog wins.
Look at the ant cow it was milking. This was what was called a scale insect. Now watch the acrobat ant. It begins to stroke the scale insect with its antennae gently. This tickles the scale insect, which soon causes it to extrude a little tube that squirts out the sweet honeydew, which the ant relishes. Pretty neat, huh? The ant will continue to do this over and over again until it is full and can bring the nutritious honeydew back to the colony. For many ant species, honeydew makes up a great portion of their diet, and many ants will protect these insects like personal herds of cows. I was happy our acrobat ants had discovered the plant insects as a food source.
I guess that ant is pleasuring that other bug. Thanks for the donation, Jermaine.
One of the things that I've always found a mystery, I mean, I think there's an equal mystery on the left and on the right in this regard, is that the more conservative types tend to be very skeptical of big government, and the leftist types tend to be more skeptical of big corporations. Right? Well, following through the logic that you just laid out, you made the suggestion that one of the things that characterizes people on the left is the belief that government can act as an agent of can and should act as an agent of distribution. Okay, a potential problem for that is the gigantism of the government that does that. Now, the conservatives are skeptical of that gigantism, and likewise, the liberals, the progressives in particular, we'll call them progressives, are skeptical of the reach of gigantic corporations. And I've always seen a commonality in those two, in that both of them are skeptical of gigantism. And so one of the things that
they're not really skeptical about the size of the organization. They're skeptical about the interests of these organizations.
Concerned about, generally speaking, with regard to the potential for the rise of tyranny, is the emergence of giants. And one potential problem with the view that the government can and should act as an agent of redistribution is that there is an incentive put in place, two kinds of incentives. Number one, a major league incentive towards gigantism and tyranny. And number two, an incentive for psychopaths who use compassion to justify their grip on power, to take money and to claim that they're doing good. And I see that happening everywhere now particularly in the name of compassion. And it's one of the things that's made me very skeptical, in particular about the left, and at least about the progressive edge of the left. So I'm curious about...
Hi VG, it's sick it piss. Should we kill carnivorous humans who eat herbivorous animals? Also, sugar is bad, didn't you know? Love you buddy my dude.
Yes, we should kill carnivorous humans. Let me see. This is the easiest way to lose weight while growing muscle mass.
You don't have any sugar in your bloodstream. You get to the gym, you have a 20-minute
If you don't have any sugar in your bloodstream, you die.
reserve of glycogen. 20 minutes into your workout, you're out of energy. Your body needs energy now. It takes 3 minutes to liquefy lean muscle. It takes 5 hours to turn fat into energy. Where do you think your body's getting energy? Burning your own lean muscle. So what happens is you're going hammer down on the treadmill. You are actually digesting your own lean muscle. And then that night you're building it back. And then the next day you work out and then you build it back. So I'm going to tell you something. There's something called 30-30-30. I've never seen anything in my life strip fat off of a human being faster than this. I wish I could have patented it. There's an entire book written by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Body explaining this whole theory. It says 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking, followed by 30 minutes of steady state cardiovascular exercise. Bring your heart rate down to below 135 beats a minute. Do that for a month and watch it eat this.
Yeah, so fasted cardio doesn't work. Doesn't matter when you do cardio, it's all about energy balance. So that's just complete pseudoscience. He was right about, carbohydrate being, required for energy, but yeah, that other shit was just pure pseudoscience. Thanks for the donation, Hammy Whammy.
What you think about those two. First of all, it's a paradox to me that the conservatives and the leftists face off each other with regard to their concern about different forms of gigantism and don't seem to notice that the thing that unites them is some antipathy. This is especially true for the libertarians, some antipathy towards gigantic structures per se. And so then I would say, with regards to your antithesis between liberalism and conservatives, the conservatives are pointing to the fact that there are intermediary forms of distribution that can be utilized to solve the social problems that you're describing that don't bring with them the associated problem of gigantism. And like it's been shocking to me.
I'm surprised Destiny hasn't cut him off and just asked, why would you assume it's the size of the corporation or organization that people are worried about? It's clearly the competency and interest that people are worried about, not the size of the organization.
To watch the left, especially in the last 6 years, ally itself, for example, with pharmaceutical companies, which was something I'd never thought I would see in my lifetime. I mean, for decades, the only gigantic corporations the left was more skeptical of than the fossil fuel companies were the pharmaceutical companies. And that all seemed to vanish overnight around the COVID time. So I know the story. That's a lot of things to throw.
I don't know how he can claim this. People still criticize pharmaceutical companies for promoting painkillers. So what is he talking about?
At you, but it sort of outlines the territory that we could probably investigate productively.
Yeah, so a couple things. I would say that the current political landscape we have, I think, is less. I understand the concept of conservatives supporting corporations and liberals supporting large government. I think today the divide we're starting to see more and more is more of a populist, anti-populist rise, or even an institutional or anti-institutional rise. So, for instance, I think conservatives today in the United States are largely characterized with, I would say, with populism, in that they're supporting certain figures, namely right now Donald Trump, who they think alone can kind of lead them against the corrupt institutions, be them corporate or government. I feel like most conservatives today are not as trustful of big corporations as they were back in the Bush era, where we would, conservatives would champion, big corporations.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
That's a strange thing because it makes the modern conservatives a lot more like the 60s leftists.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, that brings us into the issue, too, of whether the left-right divide is actually a reasonable way of construing the current political landscape at all. And I'm not sure it is, but...
Right now it kind of is, but only because so many conservatives are following Trump. So your populist, anti-populist thing kind of maps on kind of cleanly to the left and right. It doesn't work with progressives, though, or the far left, because they're also anti-large everything. So in a surprising way, on very, very far left people, you might find them having a bit more in common with kind of a MAGA Trump supporter than a center-left liberal. So for instance, both of these groups of people on the very far left will be very dovish on foreign policy, probably a little bit more isolationist. They're not a big fan of a ton of immigration or a ton of trade with other countries. They might think that there's a lot of institutional capture of both government and corporations. So both all of the MAGA supporters and the far, far left might think that corporations don't have our best interest at heart and the government is corrupt and captured by lobbyists. You'll see a lot of overlap there.
Right.
I think that sometimes there's a couple things. One, this is something I feel like I've discovered. People have no principles. I think that people are largely guided by whatever is kind of satisfying them or making them feel good at the time. I think that's a really important thing to understand because people's beliefs will seem to change at random. If you're trying to imagine that a belief is coming from some underlying principle or is governed by some internal, like moral or reasonable code or whatever. I think generally there are large social groups and people kind of follow them along from thing to thing, which is why you end up in strange worlds sometimes where, like the position on vaccines and being an anti-vaxxer might have been seen as something, 10 years ago as kind of like a hippie leftist. And now maybe it's more like a conservative, or it's associated more with like MAGA Trump supporters or whatever. I think as a result of how the social groups move around. When it comes to you mentioned this like gigantism thing. That's another thing where I'm not sure if people actually care about gigantism or if they're using it as a proxy for other things that they don't like. Like I could totally imagine.
Well, I care about it.
Sure. Yeah, you might. Yeah, sorry. It just mean in general.
That's
yeah. Okay. Because like I could imagine somebody saying that like they don't trust like a large government. They think there's too much, prone to tyranny or something like that. But also be supportive of an institution like the Catholic Church, which is literally, one guy who is a direct line to
but they
God.
can't tax.
Well, I mean,
and they don't have a military.
That
and
is
they can't conscript you.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And they can't throw you in jail.
That is true, yeah. I mean,
right, well, those are major and significant. I mean, I get the overlap. Don't get me wrong.
Sure, but I'm saying like even if you had a local government, like if you had a state government or a tribe, usually they've got some form of enacting punishment. It'll be sometimes more brutal, but they can throw you in jail. Conscription hasn't existed in the U.S. since the Vietnam War. I mean, yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, true. What do you make of the excess deaths?
For related to vaccines, there are almost none. The mRNA vaccines have been administered related to vaccines.
We don't know. No.
We absolutely know. We absolutely. This is like settled science.
What do we know?
In terms of vaccine-related
No, that's not my question. Excess deaths in
Thanks for the membership, Anthony. Appreciate it.
Europe are up about 20%, and they have been since the end of the COVID pandemic.
Really high to me. 20%?
Go look.
I'll check afterwards, but is this including like the Ukrainian war with Russia?
No, it's not including the Ukrainian war.
Okay. Are you implying that you think it's because of vaccines?
I'm not implying anything. I'm saying what the excess deaths are.
But what is your take on what's causing it?
Well,
you said that in a counter to me describing mRNA vaccines. You said, well, the excess deaths are 20%. It makes sense that the implication is that the vaccines are causing it.
First of all, something is causing it.
Well, that obviously, yeah.
Something is causing it, or some combination of factors.
Sure.
Now,
Let me just quickly Google this. Europe, excess deaths. European Commission. Where is he getting this 20% figure? EU excess mortality by month from January 2023 to January 2024. The highest peak is at about, it's like just under 10%. Where is he getting this 20% figure? EU excess mortality above the baseline in May 2023. Percent change compared to 2016-2019 average. So Luxembourg saw a big increase, about 15 to 20. But everywhere else, it's like 10%. Yeah, it's like from 0 to 10%. Where? Excess mortality in England post-COVID-19 pandemic, implication for secondary prevention. Many countries, including the UK, have continued to experience an apparent excess of deaths long after peaks associated with COVID. Numbers of excess deaths estimated in this period are considerable. The UK Office for National Statistics has calculated that there were 7.2% or 44,255 more deaths registered in the UK in 2022 based on comparison with a 5-year average. This persisted into 2023 with 8.6%. More deaths registered in the first 6 months of the year than expected. The continuous mortality investigation found a similar excess, 28,000 deaths for the same period using different methods. Several methods can be used to estimate excess deaths, each with limitations. Causes of these excess deaths are likely to be multiple and could include the direct effects of COVID-19 infection, acute pressure on NHS acute services resulting in poorer outcomes from episode of acute illness, and disruption to chronic disease detection and management. So basically, there's not a 20% increase in excess deaths. I don't know where the fuck he's getting the 20% figure. And it looks like the explanation for this is either from prolonged, COVID-19 illnesses. So if you get COVID-19, you're more likely to experience other illnesses. And acute pressure on healthcare services where people are getting, having longer wait times, not being able to get the care they need. And it's harder to also diagnose and manage other diseases when the healthcare system's overburdened. So Peterson's just full of shit.
One possibility is that the healthcare systems were so disrupted by our insane focus on the COVID epidemic that we're still mopping up as a consequence of that.
Wait, are these excess deaths tracing back through COVID as well?
Post-COVID.
Just post-COVID.
Post-COVID.
Okay.
Right. They're terrifying. Right. They're terrifying. And they're not well publicized. And
Destiny did a stream reacting to the Peterson thing, right? I think he did. Let me see if he posted anything.
Wine open. Fuck yeah, this guy knows how to shop. What the fuck? All right, someone just sent us a tip. Thank you so much for the tips. See all these lights? You are helping
Vegan
us
seeking
keep
vegan.
them on. Vegan seeking vegan.
Yeah, he hasn't posted anything yet.
And
I think excess trusts are the fact that you're speaking to them right now seems like...
Yeah, but I ferret down a lot of rabbit holes. It's not like it's front bloody page news on the New York Times.
Sure, but I think excess deaths that's a metric that you can Google, and I'm pretty sure there are like 3 different huge organizations that track excess deaths around the world.
There are many more than 3, yes, in every single European country. Right. Okay, well, so one relatively straightforward hypothesis is that it's a consequence of the disruption of the healthcare system, the staving off of cancer treatment, etc. The increase in depression, anxiety, suicidality, and alcoholism that was a consequence of the lockdowns, the economic disruption. And there's plenty of reason to believe that some of that is the case. But the other obviously glaring possibility is that injecting billions of people with a vaccine that was not tested by any stretch of the imagination with the thoroughness that it should have before it was forced upon people also might be a contributing factor.
Oh my God,
partly
here we
because
go.
we know that it led to a rise in myocarditis among young men. And
we know it didn't. So he didn't actually look at the data. The risk of myocarditis in young men was literally it was actually lower technically. The risk of you getting myocarditis from the vaccine is lower than if you actually get COVID. So he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Also know.
And by the way, myocarditis is extremely easy to treat, and you pretty much immediately know when you have it. So yeah, the idea that that would be contributing to a 20% increase in excess deaths is just fucking crazy.
That there was absolutely no reason whatsoever to ever recommend that that vaccine was delivered to young children whose risk of death at COVID was so close to 0 that it might as well have been 0.
When you're talking about a disease, the risk of
Yeah, so the reason was transmission.
death isn't the only thing that you worry about for the disease.
So you're going to talk about transmission? Because that was another thing that the COVID vaccine pushed. Yeah, but it didn't do anything to transmission.
It absolutely did, because it decreased your chance of getting infected. It didn't destroy, it didn't get rid of transmission, but it reduced transmission.
Yeah, but it was claimed that it would get rid of
only
transmission.
if you take one reading of one single quote. I think that Biden said one time where he said, no, come on. I've heard so many times because everybody say, oh, you can't take anything Trump says seriously. Biden one time on the news says, if you get the vaccine, you won't transmit the disease.
That is so silly.
Which was it? No.
Do you know that our Prime Minister in Canada deprived Canadians of the right to travel for 6 months because the unvaccinated were going to transmit COVID with more likelihood than the vaccinated?
Okay.
So this wasn't one bloody statement. This was
hold on.
thorough government policy.
That is a completely different claim to you can't transmit it if you have the vaccine. I noticed Jordan Peterson will do this. When he's talking about a subject, he will light like 20 different of these little fires where he'll make all these little tiny claims. And then when you're in a conversation with him, it's impossible to go over each little stupid claim he makes because then he'll just like fucking steamroll and talk over you.
What I'm saying is there wasn't a statement given that if you get vaccinated, there's a 0% chance of transmitting the disease. The idea is that vaccines were supposed to help because it reduces your hospitalization, it reduces death, and it reduces transmission, hopefully by making it so that people don't get sick or don't get sick for as long. All 3 of those things the vaccines did exceedingly well. They continue to do that to this day, but especially for the first variant and then the Delta variant, the vaccines helped immensely here. They were tested. The myocarditis rates are like 7 out of 100,000 injections, and the myocarditis is generally acute, and it's generally not as bad as even getting the coronavirus itself, which will lead you also to have
a much worse side effect than side effects that have caused other vaccines to be taken off the market before.
This guy is just an idiot. No, the likelihood of you getting myocarditis from the vaccine is infinitesimal. It's tiny, and it's lower than if you got COVID, you idiot. So why would that be a reason to take the vaccine off the market?
A 7 out of 100,000 rate of acute myocarditis or pericarditis is not a worse side effect than any other vaccine. I think that is a completely acceptable, given that the disease itself is more likely to cause myocarditis or pericarditis.
Yes, I don't think the data suggests support that presupposition anymore. The latest peer-reviewed studies show that that's simply not true, especially among young men.
Oh, that is bullshit.
So there is an age bracket of young men where the elevated rate of myocarditis, acute myocarditis from the vaccine might have been higher, but we're talking about like 3 or 4 cases per 100,000 people. And again, myocarditis, pericarditis are generally acute conditions.
Well,
They don't last for very long.
I told you at the beginning of this conversation that the progressive leftists were on the side of the pharmaceutical companies.
It's not about being on the side of the pharmaceutical companies. It's about
really,
yeah.
Yeah, well, I see. So what?
Dude, Peterson's unhinged. He's well known for making misquotes and just imagining numbers. He's lying. Like, he hasn't read any of this.
What I see as the unholy part of that alliance with the pharmaceutical companies is that it dovetails with the radical utopians' willingness to use power to impose their utopian vision.
Well, then what do you
Because
make of the
otherwise,
fact
how
that-
would you explain it? Because the leftists
What the fuck does this have to do with his claims about the vaccine? These
should
are
have been the ones.
like, now he's doing some bullshit moralizing about how, oh, this is what the radical leftists want.
That were most skeptical about the bloody pharmaceutical companies. And they jumped on the vaccine bandwagon in exactly the same way that you're doing right
Pharmaceutical
now.
companies
Yeah, and guess what? They had a way lower risk of fucking dying.
helped us tremendously.
Yeah,
throughout
right. There we go. Fine. No,
You think modern
I don't
medicine
think
hasn't?
so. No, I don't think
Then
so.
you're just wrong.
I think they're
You're
utterly
completely wrong.
I see. So you don't think that the pharmaceutical companies
Like, notice what he did. He jumped from making an empirical claim, a descriptive claim about, okay, the vaccines aren't as good as they're claimed to be. They don't prevent, transmission. They have all these health problems associated with them. Then when Destiny pushes back against this and says, no, they clearly are protective, the risks are extremely low, he starts moralizing about how, oh, progressives are just saying this because they're in bed with pharmaceutical companies. What does that have to fucking do with the claims you made?
who dominate the advertising landscape with 75% of the funding are corrupt.
Corrupt is a very broad.
No, it's.
Do you think that?
Yeah, dude, he's letting Jordan Peterson lead this conversation. You should stick to the claims he made. What does this have to do with the fucking claims he made?
Do you think that
corrupt with a tinge of malevolence, willing to extract money out of people by putting their health on the line?
Do you
don't
think
believe
that
that?
do you think that we get effective drugs from pharmaceutical companies?
Not particularly.
Oh my god, what a fucking retard.
Do you think that?
But please show us the data that most drugs on the market are bullshit and don't do anything and don't overall help human health.
Any vaccines work?
Yes.
Do you think that any?
I don't think 80 of them work.
What?
At once for babies.
There aren't 80 fucking. What is he talking about? Oh, he's reciting anti-vaccine propaganda. I know the exact sources he's actually been looking up. There's this claim that babies need to take 80 different vaccines all at once. This is a long-held conspiracy theory in the anti-vax community. It's completely bullshit. Now I know he's not getting his sources from actual valid scientific sources. He's literally going to anti-vaccine blogs and reciting their fucking bullshit. Babies aren't given 80 fucking vaccines all at once. This guy's an idiot.
I think that's a little risky.
But yet we've been on this vaccine schedule for how many decades?
Like
and babies
this,
don't.
like this, not like this, not carefully.
I had a ton of vaccines when I was a child. I'm pretty sure that was the norm for people.
Okay, Destiny, this is a... God damn it, I wish this was Avi debating Jordan Peterson, or even me, because what he's saying is total bullshit.
A ton of vaccines.
There's way more...
You can look at infant vaccine schedule. Birth to 18 years immunization. So birth to 15 months, there's like what, about a dozen or so, 18 months to 18 years. And again, there's about a dozen or so. So there, like, you can look at the vaccine schedule. Do you see 80 vaccines here given at birth? Like, no, he's lying. So he's literally getting the absolute worst bottom of the barrel anti-vaccine propaganda that he found off of like conspiracy theorist blogs. I don't know why Destiny wouldn't know this. He's literally it's too bad this wasn't either me or Avi debating him.
Now.
Okay. And you think
well,
that...
you can understand why. I mean, look, part of it, no doubt, part of it is a consequence of the genuine willingness to protect children. But the moral hazard is...
You know, I'll message Destiny. Let me see. He might be online. Yeah. I'm watching your Peterson debate, and he absolutely... Wait, let me see. I was watching your Peterson debate, and he lied. He spread
I hate when the anti-COVID vaxxers blabber about the government said this hurt like I don't give a shit what the president or someone said. It doesn't change the fact that the vaccine is safe and effective, you stupid fuck.
Yeah, like again, as soon as he gets pushed back, he starts moralizing about bullshit and talking about conspiracy theories because he knows he doesn't have an argument. He's an idiot. Thanks for the donation, though, dude. Watching your Peterson debate, and he spread long-debunked anti-vaccine propaganda, and you didn't call him out on it. He claimed babies are given 80 vaccines. That's completely false. There's about a dozen vaccines infants are given for the first, 18 months. Yeah, given in the first 18 months. You can just Google what the current vaccine schedule is in Canada and the US. It's hilarious how he talks about looking up research and studies, but he literally pulled his data from long debunked anti-vaccine blogs. I wonder if he's online. It says he's actually online. Are you available right now?
Quite clear. And people on the left used to be aware of this.
What do you make of the fact? Where do you think the mRNA vaccine, the speeding up of it, came from? How do you make for the fact that it was Donald Trump that did warp speed?
Terror. So foolish panicking, just like we're doing with the climate issue.
So you think Trump was panicking? Was he in bed with the pharmaceuticals? Was he working with the left, or was it just that was the only panicky thing he made? He didn't try to push for the mass lockdowns like other far left people would want him to do. That was just the one mistake he made, was the pushing for the vaccine?
No, I think Trump undoubtedly made all sorts of mistakes and it was
yeah, dude, that is a horrible missed opportunity. So Jordan Peterson's well known for doing this. He always, whenever he brings up research or data, he always will either flat out lie about it, or he'll fabricate numbers, or he's just a delusional, mentally deficient fuckwit, and he just forgets and then just makes shit up. But he's known for fudging numbers. What he did here was he tried to, impose himself as an expert. I've done the research. I've looked at the data. I've looked at the studies. So he's talking about how, he did all this research. He has all this know-how. But then when he starts talking about fucking vaccine schedules for infants, he literally repeated vaccine misinformation that was made up by anti-vaxxers, I think back in the 1990s. That's being long debunked. I remember hearing about this stupid shit when I was a kid. Literally, when I was only 10 years old, I've heard about this, anti-vaccine fucking bullshit where, they give 80 vaccines to babies. That's bullshit. You can look up vaccine schedules. There's only, about a dozen that they give for infants, from 0 to 18 months of age. So this guy who's claiming, I've done all the research, but then he pulls up data that has been spread around the internet for literally decades. That's misinformation that was originally made up by anti-vaxxers on bullshit forums and vlogs. He clearly has not done any research, and he's just flat out fucking lying about it. It would have been great if Destiny was able to call him out for that, but totally missed opportunity.
Certainly wasn't only the left that stampeded toward the forced COVID vaccine debacle. But it was most surprising to me that it emerged on the left, because the left at least had been protected against the depredations of gigantic predatory corporations by their skepticism of the gigantic enterprises that can engage in regulatory capture, and that just vanished.
Is it not possible that maybe people looked and they said, hey, if all the governments, all the institutions, all the schools, all the private companies across all the countries around the world are saying the same thing?
Fucking stalker, awful fucking cunt. But when I fucking knew him before he fucking started taking the ketamine, the meth, he was a good fucking, necessarily good. It's a stretch. He was a nice person.
Do you think he assaulted that girl or no?
Yes, he definitely did assault her.
Okay. What do you think about these other, James claims there was a criminal investigation where the government was closing in on TUMAD and all of this, and there's no proof of this whatsoever, and even if they were, he wouldn't have been told about it. But what is your...
They weren't fucking closing in. The thing is, James Key just fucking had beef with TUMAD for ages, And
Like,
the moment
still?
that he saw he passed away, he was happy about it.
But he claimed he spent $100,000 on what I.
Do you ever close your eyes and think of Gigliardo whenever you're having sex? Or is that just me? Is that weird?
Pretty sure it's just you. I don't know. Giggly might have that effect on some people. Thanks for the donation, Black Lotus.
Yeah.
Maybe it is the case that this vaccine just helps. Is that not possible?
Oh, sure. That's sure. Of course it's possible, but that didn't mean it was right.
Well,
they used force. They used force.
We use force for all sorts of things in terms of public
We don't
health.
generally use force to invade people's bodies.
How long have vaccine mandates been a thing? In Canada, the United States?
They didn't force anybody to take vaccines. There were just mandates if you wanted to do certain things, like go to public places, work at certain jobs, and that's been the case forever. There have always been vaccine mandates.
It's in the entire world.
I don't think they should have been a thing.
That's great if you don't think they should have been.
That's a completely different fucking claim. So he's, like, again, notice what Peterson does. He'll make a claim like, oh, this COVID vaccine thing was totally unique. They forced it upon us like no other vaccine. Then when Destiny proves that's completely false, we've always had vaccine mandates like this. And then he makes another claim. Well, I don't think that should be the case. Are you going to admit you were wrong?
When we say we don't generally use force, we absolutely use force. We've enforced vaccines for a long time. It's an important part of public health.
Fair enough. We did it on a scale and at a rate during the COVID pandemic, so-called pandemic, that was unparalleled. And the consequence of that was that we injected billions of people with an experimental, it wasn't a bloody vaccine.
Of
Just,
course
no,
it
it
was.
wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it isn't.
That's it.
So it was a vaccine. A vaccine is anything that generates immunity. This whole thing, because the mRNA vaccine is unique to other vaccines, it's not a vaccine. This guy's an idiot.
It is. It's not. Doesn't it have a 100% success rate? You think it's a...
So again, this is the guy who's read all the studies, done all the research, looked at all the data, but so far, all he's been able to do is completely get numbers wrong. We've proven, like, the 20% excess death statistic, that's a complete made-up fabrication. And now, despite reading all the data, all the science on this, he's getting this wrong too. He doesn't even understand what a vaccine is.
Definition of vaccine? The whole point of the vaccine is to give your body a protein to train on so that your immune system works. Who cares if it's not the same? There's
They
different
used
types
the word
of...
vaccine so that they didn't have to contend with the fact that it wasn't the same technology.
So there you go. Now this is a completely different claim. For claim number one, the COVID-19 vaccine isn't a vaccine because it uses mRNA technology. Claim number two, it is a vaccine, but they decided to call it a vaccine so that they wouldn't have to explain to the public that it's a new technology, which is bizarre because everybody knew it was an mRNA vaccine.
Different types of vaccines that are different technologies.
Fine.
The mRNA vaccines is a type of vaccine technology.
Vaccines. Now this is vaccines.
No, it was like this and now it's like this.
No. It was like this and now it's like this. The mRNA technology was a radical qualitative leap forward in technology. You can call it a vaccine if you want to, but
there's been mRNA. So mRNA vaccine technology has been around for a very long time. I think about 3 decades. The reason it hasn't been used yet is because it's so expensive. So a lot of these pharmaceutical companies just didn't want to invest the time and research and money into developing vaccines with that technology. With Operation Warp Speed and all the funding that Pfizer and Moderna got, they were finally willing to do it. But this technology has been around for decades. It's not some like brand new thing that we just figured out.
I got the vaccine in an Arby's parking lot from a member of the Hells Angels. He injected it into my penis and I remember feeling very drowsy afterwards. I'm glad I did my part to protect myself and my community.
Well, I don't know if you got vaccinated, but at least you tried. Thanks for the donation, young nigga.
it bears very little resemblance to any vaccine that went before that. And the reason it was called a vaccine was because vaccine was a brand name that had a track record of safety, and shoehorning it.
Vaccine is not a brand name.
In that was one of the ways to make sure that people weren't terrified of the technology. And
I think the reason it's called a vaccine is because they're injecting you with something that's inoculating you against something in the future, because it has proteins that resemble a virus that infects
there are
your immune system
overlaps between the mRNA technologies and vaccines, to be sure, but they wouldn't have been put forward with the rate that they were put forward if they weren't.
Okay, Destiny's making a big mistake here. Jordan Peterson is saying it's not a vaccine. What you should ask him is make an argument for why it's not a vaccine. Tell him to give you a definition of what a vaccine is, and explain why it doesn't meet that definition.
Do you think if you were on the Lex Friedman-Israel debate, you could make it through without punching Finkelstein in the face? You have to admire Destiny's composure.
Oh, dude, I would want to throw a fucking book at that guy. I would have gotten fucking pissed and lost my shit. Probably at both of them, really. But yeah, I would have probably lost my shit a lot faster than Destiny. Thanks for the donation, Des. So yeah, Destiny's making a debate mistake here. He's not... So Jordan Peterson hasn't clarified his position. He's just saying that it's not a vaccine. Define what a vaccine is. Explain why the why the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine don't fit the definition of a vaccine, and then argue from those sets of propositions he makes.
That last dono was a fake. It was in Kindo. Anyways, can you do an impersonation of Jordan P having head problems and blaming it on vaccines? Thanks.
Alright, sure. I can do that. Let's see. So, I was skeptical about this vaccine technology and all that, but, I was told if I take the damn vaccine, I'll be able to travel, I'll be able to go out in public, so I was like, fine, give me the damn vaccine. Well, wait 6 months later, my wife's in the hospital in a coma due to her cancer treatment, and, well, when your wife's laying in bed unconscious, I'll do what any man does and pull her pants down, and lo and behold, I can't get an erection. Now, is that because I'm in a hospital and there's lots of people walking around and I'm nervous? No, I've never had that problem before. But it wasn't until I took that damn vaccine where I can't get erect when my wife is laying unconscious in bed. Explain that, woke liberal moralists. There you go. Thanks for the donation, Black Lotus.
New technology, and it's bad in principle to inject billions of people with an untested new technology.
Isn't it also bad in principle for billions of people to get infected with a worldwide pandemic that initially was causing a decent number of deaths, a ton of complications, shutting down world economies?
Maybe it was.
So shouldn't we be able to engage in that analysis and figure out, like, if we look at the
we're not engaging in the analysis.
No, because now we're talking about whether or not vaccines or even vaccines or not instead.
No, don't play that game. That is not what I was doing. I was making a very specific and careful case. The mRNA technology, by wide recognition, is an extraordinarily novel technology.
It's not. It's been around for about 3 decades.
That doesn't make it not a vaccine, though.
Well, okay, it's a radically transformed form of vaccine. I don't give a damn. That still makes it something so new that the...
It is not new. Again, this is coming from a guy who said, I've done all the research, I've studied everything, I know all the studies, and he doesn't even know the history of the technology.
Potential danger of its mass administration was...
If there was one thing you could debate Jordan Peterson on, what would it be?
Well, veganism, obviously. Number 2 would probably be the fucking vaccines. Because I could easily make him look like a fucking retard here. It's too bad I wasn't the one debating him on this topic. I would have made him look like a fucking moron. Like, holy fuck, I'm surprised Destiny didn't know that. He let Jordan Peterson blurt out that 80 vaccines for babies figure. That is misinformation that's been, like, traveling around the internet since, like, the fucking late 90s. Thanks for the donation, though, Grandam. Bootycom Donatellers, can we have a break and listen to some wise words from Sheik Yabooty?
Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, dear brothers and sisters. What is a woman? What a stupid question. Wallahi, when I first heard this question, I thought it was a joke. But no, they're serious. The kuffar, the disbelievers, they are confused. They don't know what a woman is. Wallahi, this only shows how underdeveloped, how ignorant, how backwards the West is. Subhanallah. Because they do not have true knowledge. They don't have the hikmah. Because they don't have Islam. They don't have Allah. They went to the moon, to space, in Hollywood, they say that humans came from monkeys. A'udhu billah. Maybe they came from monkeys, maybe they are monkeys. They think they know everything, but they don't know what a woman is. Subhanallah, I will make this very simple. There are two kinds of humans, men and women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that men are in charge of women. They take care of women, and he can go out and take 1 wife, 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives. The Quran says take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Like when you go to the bazaar and you pick up fruits, you know, alhamdulillah. Now a man and a woman can be distinguished by looking at their faces. This is a man. A man has a beard. If you do not have a beard, then you're a woman. Alhamdulillah. That's how easy it is. A man has a beard, a woman has no beard. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had a beard, he kept his beard, he did not trim his beard, and he told the believers to grow their beards. And that is how we can tell if somebody is a man or a woman. Forget about what they talk about, identity, chromosomes. What is chromosomes? Wallahi, they don't even know what that is. They don't even know what chromosome means.
This isn't particularly funny, but whatever. Thanks for the donation, Booty Cum.
highly probable to be at least or more dangerous than the thing that it was supposed to protect against. And we are seeing that in the excess
We are
deaths.
absolutely not saying. So are you implying now the excess deaths were caused by the vaccines, or
I don't bloody well know what they're
that's what you're
caused by.
implying now.
So now there's two different claims. The excess deaths aren't caused by the vaccines. The excess deaths are caused by the vaccines. He's holding two contradictory beliefs.
Well, look, if you're going to use Occam's razor, you're kind of stuck in an awkward place here.
Absolutely not.
How is that is not true at all? There's other explanations for excess deaths.
You know, this is the most administered vaccine in the or inoculation, or whatever you prefer to call it, in the history of all of mankind. Every single organization around the world is motivated to call this out if it was a bad thing. You don't think Russia or China would be screaming if Donald Trump or the United States warp sped through a vaccine that was having deleterious effects on populations all around the world? You don't think there wouldn't be some academic institution? You didn't think there'd be more than a handful of doctors and Joe Rogan and some conservatives saying this vaccine might have been bad if it was the case that American companies working with companies in Europe and Germany especially, right, because that's where biotech is from, in order to create or manufacture.
Who would win a debate, Elmo or Jordan? Why?
Elmo, because Elmo isn't a screaming, screeching retard. Thanks for the donation, Grandam.
They're going to have angry makeup sex at the end. Watch the wild vid.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks for the donation, Black Lotus.
Manufacture a vaccine that was causing excess deaths all around the world. There are so many different people that we motivated to call this out. How do you explain
They
the
are
fact that
calling it out.
No, it's a handful of people. Where are the governments calling it out? Where are the academic institutions calling it out? Where are the other private companies calling it out? Wouldn't you stand to make a killing if you were a private company in Europe and you could say, look, the mRNA vaccines for sure are causing all of these issues? Why wouldn't Putin? Why wouldn't Xi Jinping? Why wouldn't anybody else in the world call this out if it was as horrible as it was?
There are plenty of people attempting to call
Nobody
out that-
credible and no huge institution.
What do you make of the excess deaths? You have
Like, again, the explanation... Like, by the way, Jordan Peterson actually went over the rational explanations. The overburdened healthcare systems, prolonged issues with COVID-19 exposures. COVID-19 might, make you more likely to have, like, a heart attack in the future, stuff like that. Financial burdens. A lot of people really struggled financially after COVID. There's stuff like that is a rational explanation. And he's like, what other explanation is there? Like Jordan Peterson literally gave the rational explanations for this.
haven't come up with a bloody hypothesis.
I don't even know if there are 20% at the excess deaths in Europe right now.
Yeah, there aren't. And there aren't.
Now, if I had to guess off the top of my head, it's going to be, like you said, one might be lingering effects of an overwhelmed healthcare system. Another one might be deaths related to the war in Ukraine. Another one might be rising energy costs that have
But it's
happened for a couple of
absolutely
reasons.
impossible that any of it could be unintended consequences of a novel technology injected into billions of people.
I think that if excess, first of all, there aren't billions of people in Europe.
Jordan, show us the data. This is nothing but ridiculous speculation. Since you love reading studies and research, why don't you show us the data linking vaccine use and deaths? He can't. So all he can do is speculate and basically make up this like weird narrative where there's only one explanation for all of this. So yeah, he's just full of shit.
So if there were excess deaths, I understand, but you're talking about excess deaths in Europe. I'm not aware of excess deaths that exist in other places that are completely and totally unaccounted for, where the only explanation would be the vaccine. I think if there were, I think more people would be talking about it.
Well, first of all, the number of people talking about something is not an indication of the scientific validity of a claim.
I
Quite the
agree with that,
contrary.
but for a
Well, then
vaccine
why
that
are
was-
you using mass consensus as the determinative of what constitutes?
He is not.
Because I think for something
That's a complete straw man.
Because I think for something that was given to billions and billions of people, if this was something that was having a measurable effect on people, it would be
Bootycomb donate $2.11. See, this also you missed the best bit at the end when he brought up pictures and stuff, but doesn't matter. Watch this clip from 11 for 1 minute. Let me see.
القابل اجي تستوي من المطعم.
And this time the suicide bomber gets close. Very close.
انفجرت نار من هاي ساعتين اجت.
Windows in the soldier's house are shattered by the blast, and on their roof they make a grim discovery.
هذا اللحم مال داعش صار تكه.
Beef tikka. Wow. Well, that's good. Thanks for the donation, Booty Cum.
Impossible to cover it up or ignore it.
Well,
we
what do
wouldn't
you-
have to look at the one
All
case
right.
brought up on a documentary. We wouldn't have to look at the one thing being talked about.
Then what do you,
know,
make
but-
of the VAERS data?
There's
more.
The VAERS data. Oh my God. So the VAERS data isn't. It's not a study. It has no controls. It's just people submitting, anecdotal claims. So it's something, but it's not like what he's claiming it to me.
First negative side effects reported from the mRNA vaccines than there were reported for every single vaccine ever created since the dawn of time. And
Do you think that might have something to do with people like you making people paranoid about thinking there's something super wrong with that vaccine, causing them to overreport?
not by a small margin. So it's not just the excess deaths.
I agree.
It's the VAERS data.
What is VAERS data?
It's the database that until the COVID-19 pandemic emerged and we had the unfortunate consequence that there were so many side effects being reported, it was the gold standard for determining whether or not vaccines were safe.
No, it's not. That is a total lie. The gold standard is randomized trials, you idiot.
And now as soon as it started to misbehave on the mRNA vaccine front, we decided that we were going to doubt the validity of the VAERS
That is that is completely and utterly false.
reporting system.
Okay, the VAERS reporting system never been the gold standard for anything. VAERS reporting is just if you want to report that there is some issue that you have after getting a vaccine. That's it. I think it's
What do you mean
vaccine
that's it? What
adverse.
the hell do you think it was set up for?
To report adverse events
Why?
that happen after a vaccine
Why?
to track and see if something was related to the vaccine.
Right.
So
Why?
most people didn't even know VAERS existed until after the COVID vaccine. Once people know that it exists, of course more people are going to engage with it. But what happens
So
when
it's
you
all
submit a
noise.
report? No, it could be or it couldn't be. So what do you do when a bunch of stuff?
Well, you first of all might begin by suggesting that maybe it's not all noise.
Correct. So when
Especially
all
given
of
the
these
excess
things are
deaths.
admitted to VAERS, what they do is from there they investigate. All you can do, all VAERS is I might go and get a vaccine, and maybe in 3 days they go, I got a headache. I'm gonna go ahead and call my doctor and make this report, and they'll say, okay, well it's an adverse event after vaccine. Doesn't mean the vaccine caused the headache. And now that more people
I
know
didn't
about
say
this
it
system
meant
than
it.
ever,
I'm saying
I'm
that
just
the
saying that
VAERS
VAERS is
system
not
was-
the gold standard of determining if a vaccine is
Compared to
working or not.
what?
Compared to actual longitudinal, prospective, randomized controlled trial
You
studies.
mean like the ones they should have done to the goddamn vaccines?
Like the ones that they did do for the vaccines, and they continue
yes.
to do to this day. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
You really
correct.
think that you're in a position to evaluate the scientific credibility of the trials for the vaccines, do you?
No,
Really?
I don't. So I have to trust.
Then what are you
I
doing?
have to do, what
I don't trust
I
it.
have
I
to
looked at
trust
the bloody
I have to-
data.
you-
So Jordan Peterson is questioning Destiny's credibility and looking at the data for the vaccine, and I don't. And then he's saying, "Well, I've looked at the data. I've seen the studies, and I clearly don't trust it. Or it's clearly not trustworthy." For one thing, Jordan Peterson isn't a doctor, so I don't know how he'd have any more expertise in this than Destiny. Secondly, we know he hasn't looked at the data. He literally spread bullshit anti-vax misinformation at the beginning of this video claiming babies get 80 vaccines all at once, and that's clearly a bad vaccine scheduling, when that's not true. Infants get about, a dozen vaccines up to 18 months. So he clearly doesn't look at the data. He might think he does. Or he might think he do. He thinks he does. I don't know how to say that. But he thinks he does. He might thinks he does. But yeah, in reality, he's just looking at anti-vax blogs and making up fucking numbers.
First of all, you have to trust third parties to some extent. When you go outside,
I don't have to trust
Of course you do. You do every day. When you turn the keys in your car, you hope your engine doesn't explode. When you're drinking water, you hope that the public water or whatever tap or bottled water you got it out of isn't contaminated or poisoned with cholera.
I don't
when
do
you
that as a consequence of consensus.
No, you of course you do.
No, I don't. I do that as a consequence of observing multiple times.
Do you have a favorite gangster movie? My personal favorite would probably be the movie Donnie Brasco with Al Pacino and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Goodfellas would be my favorite. Thanks for the donation, BBC Burgess.
That when I put the goddamn key in the ignition, the truck started.
Why do you know it's going to start the 50th or the 100th time? Why? How
Don't
many times
play
do you wear
Hume
those?
with me.
I'm
You know
not
perfectly
playing
well
Hume.
why.
You don't know if the denim in those jeans isn't leaking into your bloodstream. To some extent, we have to trust third-party institutions to make
Except when they
determination.
use force. How about that?
Especially when they use force. We trust the police officers. We trust the
We
judicial
do.
systems.
We do. We on the left trust the police, do
To
we?
some extent, do we? If somebody's breaking
That's
into your
why
house,
we
who do you
defund
call?
them.
I'm not a defunder, but if somebody's breaking into your house, you can be the most defund person in the world. Who are you going to call? Are you going to call your neighbor? Are you going to call Joe Biden? Are you going to call Obama? Are you going to call the Black Panthers? You're going to call the cops.
No, you're going to call a crack addict.
So tell me this. Tell me this then, because the core issue here is use of force, as far as I'm concerned. You know, we examined some of the weeds around that. Politicians throughout the world, and this would be true on the conservative side now, in the aftermath of the COVID tyranny, because it was more a tyranny than a pandemic,
Okay.
Oh my God.
are now saying that we actually didn't force anybody to take the vaccine. So what do you think of that claim? Like, so let's define force.
I think it's
Because in
technically
Canada-
true, but I think it's silly.
What do you mean it's technically true? Define
Technically
force,
true,
then.
and that in the United States, at least, I think the idea, what they tried to do, they weren't able to do it because the Supreme Court shot it down, was Biden tried to make it so that OSHA, who's the body that regulates job safety, could make it so that employees had to get vaccinated. Now, eventually,
what?
that it was,
Or what?
or they'd lose their job.
Okay, does that qualify as force?
That's why I said technically.
Yeah, I know,
but
no,
not.
but it's a serious question. I mean, because we need to define what constitutes force.
By the way, there's already jobs where you're required to take certain vaccines to be able to work. So they also do the same thing at schools. You have to get certain vaccinations to attend public school. So this isn't anything new. They've already, they already have these sorts of mandates.
Before we can, it seems to me.
You could argue it's a type of force, sure. I mean, I think it'd be silly to say it's nothing. It is a type of force. It's the same as a cop telling you have to do this, you're going to be killed. No, but it's on the spectrum, sure, of course, yeah.
It's as much force as.
First JP says the clinical trials should have been done. Destiny says they were done. JP shifts and says Destiny isn't in a position to judge their validity. Lol.
Just constant dodging and shifting. He'll make a claim, he'll get proven wrong on that claim, then he'll do some other type of make some other claim or do some sort of moralizing. Yeah, that's a great example. Oh, clinical trials weren't done. Clinical trials were done. Oh, well, yeah, they were done, but I've looked at them and they're no good. Just nonstop. He's just such a dishonest fucking weasel. I wish I could have debated him. How the fuck does Destiny get these debates set up with these fucking retards? It's so frustrating. Thanks for the donation, PP. Bootycom donate $2. Can we watch this after? Although this guy is a Christian, it's funny. Hamza getting proven to be a liar and a big bitch. Let me see. Sure. Why not? We can do that. I hate Hamza Den. Thanks for the donation, Bootycom.
The mRNA vaccines are vaccines.
Sure. It is a type of force, and the mRNA vaccines are a type of vaccine.
Look, I really think the problem was with the COVID response. I really think the problem was the use of force. I mean, I can understand to some degree, although I'm very skeptical of the pharmaceutical companies, and far more skeptical than your insistence upon the utility of consensus might lead me to believe you're skeptical of them, which is surprising, I would say, given
I'm very skeptical of them. That's why I'm glad there's multiple companies, multiple countries, multiple academic institutions that do research, and the FDA. Yeah, I'm very skeptical. You should be in any private system. You should be skeptical of every private company, of course, whether we're talking media, pharmaceuticals, or automobile manufacturers, yeah. But skepticism doesn't mean a blind adherence to the complete total opposite of whatever it is they're saying, right? They're undoubtedly, if you look at Alzheimer's research, there's been groundbreaking improvements on drugs to treat Alzheimer's research over the past 3 years that 5 years ago, none of these drugs even existed. And now, yeah, so I mean,
how about if you're skeptical of anyone who's willing to use force to put their doctrine forward?
Then you're skeptical of literally every single person, political ideology ever.
Dude, okay, again, you have to take vaccines in order to attend public school. Does that make the vaccines not work? Again, it is a completely different claim to say vaccines don't work or vaccines, there are people who have an interest in using force to use vaccines. Two completely different claims. Just because force is used to impose vaccine mandates, that doesn't mean the vaccines don't work.
To ever have existed in all of humankind. Some degree of force, you would undoubtedly believe this, right? Some degree of force is probably necessary for any kind of cohesive society, right?
No, I don't believe that.
Of course there is.
Oh, really? So he doesn't believe in the police? He is in favor of defunding the police?
No,
even if you had a tribe of 100, 120 people, if somebody was stealing something, right? You have to punish that person.
I said earlier that becomes complicated when you're dealing with the psychopathic types. Right, so that's a complication.
What? So he's admitting force has to be used in society. And by the way, there can be problems in a society that have nothing to do with psychopathy. Look at civil law. There are people who could just have conflicting viewpoints and think they're entitled to something, or think that somebody else is responsible for, you know, an accident that occurred. That's why there's civil law. Like, what is he talking about?
But I would say generally,
like again, this pattern over and over and over again. Like, oh, I don't believe force is required ever in society. Then Destiny will give an example. Okay, well, what if somebody's stealing? Like, are you going to not force them to stop stealing? Oh, well, yeah, I guess you have to use force then, but that's an exception. Like, just endless stupid nonsense claims and then making up excuses or like trying to obfuscate.
speaking that the necessity to use force is a sign of bad policy. And no, I don't think, see, I'm not particularly Hobbesian. I don't think that the only reason people comport themselves with a certain degree of civility in civilized society is because they're terrified by the fact that the government has a monopoly on force that can be brought against them at any moment. I think that keeps the psychopaths in line to some degree. But I think that most people are enticed into a cooperative relationship, and that formulating the structures that make those relationships possible is a sign of good policy.
Oh yeah, look at Syria.
I have to ask, because I have watched a lot of your stuff in the past. I remember you speaking very distinctly on this, that for instance, when two men are communicating with each other, there is an underlying threat of force that kind of puts on the guardrails those particular social interactions. For instance,
Yeah, the threat of force is don't be psychopathic.
What is it? How broader is psychopathic here? Are we defining?
Well, I can define it. What are you trying to accomplish? Let's stop with that. We found out a little bit about who you are. I mean, you formulated your proclivity in terms of, to some degree, in terms of delight in argumentation or facility at it, which you certainly have. The danger in that, of course, is that you can be oriented to win arguments rather than to pursue the truth, and that's the danger of having that facility for argumentation. Sure. But what are you hoping to accomplish by engaging in conversations like this in the public sphere? Elevation of status, you know, that's one possibility.
No, I feel like
Okay, let's settle this. Put a poll in the chat. Who is the better lolcow, Svaria or Frank?
I guess I could do a poll in chat. Let's see. Poll. Who's the better lolcow? Svarage. Frank Tufano. There we go.
I think debate or argumentation is good because it forces two sides to make their ideas somewhat commensurate to the other. If two people are having a conversation, they have to be able to communicate said ideas to the other person, otherwise it's just a screaming match. And I think there is a good, for the sake of like just being bipartisan or having a collection of people in a certain area and having different people together, just that in and of itself without anything else happening, I think produces a good, at least for a democratic society. For instance, like I would agree that school, maybe not faculty, but administrators are very, 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 very far left today. Dangerously so. I don't have to talk to you about this, obviously. But I think part of the responsibility to that, I think, rests at the feet of conservatives who, instead of maintaining participation in the system, decide that they're going to throw their hands up and disengage. When I go and I see...
Or be forced out.
Or be forced out, sure.
In my case,
that's fine. Yeah, sometimes it can happen. But
Jordan Peterson was forced out because he lies about the story. Jordan Peterson has created this narrative that he was forced out of his teaching job at University of Toronto because he was refusing to accept students' gender identity. That's not true. He was forced out because he was a bad teacher. He was hired onto the staff with this idea that he was actually a pretty knowledgeable guy. What ended up happening was he wasn't giving proper lectures to students, and he was literally holding like basically religious sermons in his classes, and he wasn't teaching students the proper material. So he kept getting reprimanded for that, and he refused to change, and that's what made him butt head with the faculties. The whole thing about him refusing to recognize gender identities, that was just like the cherry on top. So he was pushed out of academia because he was just a bad teacher.
But I think that rather than accepting being forced out, or rather than encouraging other people to disengage,
I don't think Turkey Tom wants to do a video on Frank. He's not a very interesting person.
Engagement has to happen. It can't be I'm losing faith in the system, so all of us are going to be here and do our own thing. It has to be like, no, we're going to be here in these conversations, whether you like it or not, because in a democracy, sometimes the guy you don't like wins. Sometimes the policy that you don't like is enforced. Sometimes a guy you don't like is somebody you have to share an office or a classroom with, and we need to be okay with that. And I'm worried that like the internet is driving people into these like very homogenous but very polarized groups.
The data on that, by the way, aren't clear. Like whatever's driving polarization doesn't seem to be as tightly related to the creation of those internal bubbles as you might think. Like I've looked at a number of studies that have investigated to see whether people...
He does not look at research. He just reads blogs.
People are being driven into homogenized information bubbles, and it isn't obvious that that's the case directly, although the polarization that you're pointing to, that you're concerned about, that's...
Okay, it looks like Frank Tufano won the Lolcow award.
Seems to be clearly happening. So, and why that is, well, that's a matter of, you know, intense speculation.
I feel like the homogeneity, I feel like it's not so much, this is not research-based at all, it's just a total feeling,
Yeah.
so I'll admit that. But the feelings that I have is, it's not necessarily that homogeneity has increased, it's that homogeneity has increased as a byproduct of the bubbles becoming larger. So for instance, it might be that, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, it's a town or city really, in Nebraska, right? It might have been that 50 years ago, there are bubbles in living in Omaha, and there are different bubbles for living in Lincoln. And there might be bubbles in Toronto, or neighborhoods in Toronto, or there might be bubbles in Vancouver. But now, as the internet exists and things become more internationalized, these bubbles are, it's not just a bubble that exists in these cities, now the bubbles have come together, and as a result of them coming together...
problem.
Sure, yeah. Or a globalization problem, or a communication problem. But you run into this issue where somebody might be in a particular city or state and have a really strong opinion about what AOC says, but they don't know anything about their local political scene. And I think that that's an issue because the bubbles have gotten so large and they're encompassing so many people now, and you're expected to have like a similar set of beliefs between all of these different people now that might live in totally different places. That's, I think, a big issue we're running into.
Yeah, well, that could be, we'll close with this, I think. That might be one of the unintended consequences of hyperconnectivity, right? Is that we're driving levels of connectivity that get rigid and that we also can't tolerate. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good place to stop. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. That's much appreciated. And you're a sharp debater and good on your feet. So that's fun to see. And I do think that your closing remarks were correct, is that
Destiny could have done a lot better in the vaccine portion of that debate. He should have really gone out of his way to destroy Peterson's credibility. And I guess he didn't realize the vaccine, like, doesn't know about vaccine scheduling for infants and shit, but that was embarrassing. Let's see.
You can run, you can hide, but one day Chris will have you. Chris! Oh dear. Oh dear. And I'm hiding. I'm here, man. Bring Chris. Go and tell Chris. Say Chris Hamza's live. And he's inviting anyone to come onto his chat. Bring it. Bring him you like. This is I'm running from Chris. So-called Chris. Please.
Well, hi there, Hamza. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to be responding to someone who I know from Speaker's Corner, who goes by the moniker Hamza's Den. Someone recently let me know that he spoke about me on his live stream.